Welcome to EPG Pathshala. This is the module on theorizing community organization for the paper community organization, which is part of the subject social work education. This module should enable you to understand the relevance of theories in developing a suitable approach or suitable approaches for community practice, and to gain an introduction to certain theoretical perspectives for CO practice. Let me start by discussing and highlighting what theories are. Theories are a set of systematically related propositions or statements used to explain and or predict phenomena. Theory can be defined as a systematically organized knowledge, applicable in a relatively wide variety of circumstances. Usually, theory leads to and comprises abstract reasoning and analysis and structured ways of organizing and making sense of information. It's basically about that. Concepts are essentially building blocks in theories, and they form symbols that allow communication about phenomena to take place. Theories are not static. They change and grow with new evidence and ideas, and they may be developed through multiple methodologies and methods. Theoretical frameworks are born out of ideologies and value bases, which help the practitioner to adopt the best methods in a given situation. So it's necessary to become familiar with the various theories that have shaped contemporary community practice methods and to understand their significance, because only when there is a connection between theory and the field, between theory and practice, can you have dynamism in practice and can praxis take place. So it's this action reflection continuum that needs to be set in place, and reflection can be aided with the help of can be aided by theories. So that is a reason why we are looking at this module on theorizing community organization. Theorizing basically underlies all of community practice, and in particular this lesson should also form a backdrop for the discussion on models of community organization practice, which can follow after this. So let's look at theoretical perspectives and whether they are necessary for practice and why they are necessary for practice, and reflect on this a bit. So the efficacy of community practice is rooted in the selection of relevant theory to analyze the field situation and then develop strategies to serve the dispossessed or marginalized communities. So it's important to learn, it's important for the practitioner to learn and improve practice and knowledge in order to undertake practice that is effective, or change efforts that are effective, that are relevant, can emerge from a good mix of reflection, which is aided by theory. The community practitioner must examine also the utility of theoretical perspectives adopted through reflective evaluation of the practice outcomes. So you know, which is the theory, which is the set of theories that are relevant for practice in a given situation, is something that the practitioner needs to understand and assess as they go along. It's not only, community practice is not only about working with accepted and existing theoretical frameworks and theories, but there is also the scope for constructing an appropriate theory and employing it in practice, which is crucial to community organization. Theorizing is therefore, theorizing is a fundamental responsibility of community practitioners to challenge injustice and discrimination. So let me discuss this a little bit further. In the field of community practice in countries in the global south, we may find that when literature, and much of literature comes from the West and from other countries, there is definitely there may be some kind of a gap between the theorizing and the available body of work and literature and what it says and the type of frameworks that have emerged from the West from different contexts, and between the existing ground realities in countries in the South. Now this therefore this is one concern. The second concern is that at times there is also a hierarchy between those who theorize and those who practice. And so academicians and scholars typically theorize based on their knowledge and their understanding of the field, while the practitioners in countries like India, I mean, it is understood that they would engage actively in the field, and they would kind of use the theories or refer to theories and theoretical frameworks as and when required, the existing theoretical frameworks. But what we need to also in an approach to theorizing CO in countries like India, it is important that we acknowledge that theory building needs to happen from the field as well. And this such theory building can be extremely relevant to the country context, can be extremely empowering for communities that participate in the process of theory building. So theorizing therefore is a responsibility of practitioners, and we should not assume that those who theorize and those who practice are a different set or are different sets of people. Practitioners may build their practice and knowledge through experience and trial and error, but of course it helps to have theories as guides for reflection and analysis and for finding future direction for work. In existing literature on CO, which you will find in your e-text, there are 4 viewpoints which are highlighted as forming the basis for construction of theory. This is, where does theory come from, on what basis is it actually developed. So you have the evidence-based practice point of view that includes collection of empirical evidences. The social construction view signifies the importance of social interactions, and the empowerment view is the one where participation is the key to theory construction. The 4th viewpoint, the realistic view, includes human interpretation of the situation. All of these views are detailed in the e-text, but they essentially represent a political standpoint. They also represent certain paradigms or ways of looking at the world and at situations. So they emanate from certain paradigms. They emanate from certain paradigms. But it must also be remembered, it's also important to note that theory is based also on the scale of operations, and hence a theory that is applicable for a small size local community would differ from one that is used to design practice for a large community spread over various locations in the world. So this is about theories. So what we have said so far is that, so far we have discussed what a theory is, what are theories, then why is it important to theorize community practice, and some of the characteristics of theories, such as the fact that they are dynamic, they are changing, and they are built and developed by multiple methodologies and methods. We will now move on to discussing 4 broad sets of theories for community practice. These are based on the work of Murray, Weil and Gamble, and are detailed in your text. So the 4 community practice employs theories from various schools of thought. These are the first, personal and interpersonal theory, which refers to the self-efficacy and strengths perspective. The second is the task, group and empowerment theories. The third set is the organizational and interorganizational theories, and the fourth is community theory. I'll discuss each of these, I'll explain each of these a bit further here. Personal and interpersonal theory deals with how people at personal level build efficacy. That is, the ability to face challenges and apply appropriate skills to get out of adverse situations on their own. Community practitioners can build self-efficacy beliefs in community members in various ways, through mastery experience in problem solving, through vicarious experiences, through social models, social persuasion for believing in one's own capabilities, and enhancing physical status to reduce stress. The strengths perspective, which underlies much of social work practice in various country contexts. The strengths perspective emphasizes the collaborative relationship between the community practitioner and the community member, and it centers around the fact that people have numerous strengths, and the motivation to change and to work towards change emerges from these strengths. So it's essentially telling the practitioner to focus on the strengths of people, the members of the community. Task group and empowerment theories, the second set of theories. Task group theory defines group process and outlines the practitioner's role as a leader in community practice. And the empowerment theory aims at eliminating the internalized stigma and socially constructed barriers, exclusion or discrimination, which are responsible for restricting communities from realizing their potential. Empowerment theories provide a conceptual understanding of social oppression and fragmentation. They provide the means for identification of political, social, economic and personal barriers which perpetuate oppression, value frameworks to pursue empowerment initiatives. They also give us strategies to overcome oppression and promote social justice, and the pathways for building on communities' resources, strengths and knowledge. If you know, as you know, empowerment is at the base of all of community practice. The idea of working through power relations and working towards empowerment goals for the community and with the community is detailed in the other module on critical community practice. So the third set of theories, organizational and inter-organizational theories, can help practitioners in understanding the complex issues of organizational setups and help in developing strategies to work around issues within an organization or with external organizations, for example government bodies, to address the barriers restricting the development of a community. So basically locating practice within organizational setups as a focus and telling us how to work with these systems within the organizations and with other systems and other organizations. Community theory is really another umbrella term and a set of theories, which the community theory is a comprehensive theory which draws heavily from the experiences of various professionals such as regional planners, social science researchers, public health workers, development practitioners and grassroots community workers. It was first developed by Jane Addams and Robert E. Park of the University of Chicago, who worked with immigrant communities in settlement areas. Now, one of the components of community practice theories is also the principles of community practice, and there are various scholars who have written about the principles of community practice. Murray Ross and Arthur Dunham are two of the scholars. Let me detail the principles of community practice as given by Murray Ross. The first principle talks about the fact that communities have the capacity to deal with their own problems. So behind this principle is there is a certain value base and a set of assumptions also behind all of these principles, but behind this principle is the thought that communities are capable, and therefore in the course of practice they need to be taken as equals, if not more, by the practitioner. Any practice which undermines the abilities of the community and their capacity to take action on their own problems would essentially be going against the philosophy of community practice within social work discipline. So if communities have the capacity to deal with their own problems and and one works with this as a principle, then the implication is that communities are very actively involved in the work and in the process of taking action on their own issues and concerns. This also means that if the practitioner is an external agent or an outsider to that community, they need to make the effort to understand and to identify the capacities of the communities. The second principle talks about the fact that people desire change and can change, and that community members have the capability to participate freely in promoting a change which meets the community's needs. So the thought behind this is that is one that cuts through all of social work practice, basically, not only community practice, but it is this belief that we have that people can change and that change is possible, and that we must work with people so that they to facilitate that change. Some other author has said that the people's desire for change should precede any intervention that takes place towards that change. So people's willingness to change, if it is not evident, then it needs to be worked towards. But we believe that people can change, and therefore people have the ability also to participate in efforts at bringing about change in their own lives. The third principle speaks about the fact that people should be able to participate in deciding, in adjusting or controlling the changes taking place in their communities. Now, this principle is extremely challenging, as all principles are in different contexts, but this principle basically talks about the idea of participation and participation of the communities in their own change and development efforts and so on. Now, when one looks at community participation, which you have discussed in detail in another module, but when you look at community participation and understand it and work with community participation, then the practitioner is very well aware that it is fraught with numerous challenges. It is greatly affected by the fact that power equations are at play, power relations are at play, and that when we say that community must participate or community can participate, the question that emerges is who in the community actually participates and what is the nature of participation, and when they participate in decisions to do with their own lives, are those decisions really taken keeping the community's will and desires in mind. So with many questions, but the principle is that the community should be able to participate in decision making. The next principle talks about the fact that changes which are self-imposed or self-desired have a better impact than changes imposed on a community. The idea behind this principle is that only when changes and efforts are actually owned by the community would they really last. And so if you're talking about sustainable change in community and through community practice, then this should be one of the key goals of the practitioner, one of the key concerns and principles that is followed, because the community must be ready to want that change. The community must want that change and must be ready to take ownership of it so that they are able to sustain it once the external agent or the practitioner has exited from the scene. So typically with many development programs, for example, or with certain development programs, you may find that changes and ideas that are planted by outsiders really take time to find root with the community and to succeed, and may not succeed at all sometimes if adequate groundwork is not done. So it's important that the community wants to change and agrees to change and is therefore able to work towards that change. A holistic approach is better than a fragmented approach, and this is really very obvious. But as a principle, it tells the practitioner that rather than looking at at issues of the community as compartments, as very discrete or disconnected issues. It's important that we understand the interconnectedness between all of these, so that we are able to approach practice and interactions and engagement with the community in a more complete sense, rather than fragmenting activities into different issues, or fragmenting the community itself, because one may say that one set of people is directly affected by a particular problem, another set of people is directly affected by another issue, but actually being able to connect issues and being able to connect various sections of a community is extremely important. And democracy as such calls for equal participation and active engagement of community members. This is one of the principles of community practice. Now, the idea of equal participation and an active and a potent and effective democracy at the community level is a goal that should be is a very sound goal for all practitioners. Yet we know that for equal participation to take place, it may take a long time, and in certain communities it may really be very difficult and very challenging to make equal participation take place, because communities are people and groups are embedded in a dynamic of various power relations and a web of power relations, and whether one's practice is able to actually reach that level to bring about equal participation, which is not a token participation but a sustainable one, is something that one would really need to think about. But these principles which form a theoretical bedrock for community practice are relevant as guidelines for the practitioner, not as prescriptions for how to work. And any practitioner in any country context would find that there are numerous challenges to practicing the principles. Conceptually, no matter how much one may agree with them, you will find that in the context in which you are working, various issues, such as firstly the fact that a lot of community practice is now taking place in the project mode, and not so much on an issue based or a long term basis as perhaps earlier. The project mode leads to various kinds of pressures on the practitioner, and so some of these principles may be implemented or practiced maybe to a limited extent. So the context of the practice, which includes the dynamic of whether it is project based work or whether it's issue based work, then it includes also the whole the idea of how democratic the setup is, and the political and social environment within which the communities are located, and within which the practitioner and the community are involved in an interaction. That also influences the extent to which some of these principles may really play out. So as a backdrop within which to work, these are very powerful suggestions that come to us by way of principles through this theory. But in practice, one would need to work with it in a more realistic sense. One would end up working more realistically, but if you have the principles with you, you do have a lens with which you can analyze your practice, and that is the value of having a theoretical framework within which one can work. So community development theories focus on promoting social justice and inclusive development of the community, and there are three broad sets of theory within this. The systems and ecosystems theory, the second is a structural theory, and the third is critical theories. Systems and ecosystems theory looks at inter and intra-action components of diverse systems from the smaller scale to the large scale. This approach is a macro practice approach, and community workers using this approach can be regarded as macro practitioners. The dynamic systems theory can help community practitioners by providing tools and measures to identify connections and disconnections and misconnections within a community, organizations, societies and institutions. So within and between institutions and communities, one can understand the details of the relationships and interdependencies and work through them towards the goals that one has set. Structural theory actually aligns with the value base of community practitioners who are promoting social justice. Structuralists use conflict theory and view conflict as a natural way to redress social injustice and social wrongs. So you may find that this approach forms the bedrock of social action as a strategy and as a model of intervention in work with communities. Critical theories, the third set. Critical theories significantly highlighted the biases and prejudices involved in formation of earlier theories, and they tried to capture the voices and opinions of the marginalized, which were earlier reduced to being active subjects for the theorists. Several other theories such as postmodern, post-colonial, feminist, and critical race theories all they're all part of the critical theories, and they attack the exploitative use of power to color opinions and establish discriminatory social orders and norms. The relevance of these theoretical perspectives, why are they important in practice? First, community practitioners come from various ecosystems of ideologies, culture, and have perspectives which often influence their approaches to community practice. I mean, we have emphasized in an earlier lesson the fact that who the practitioner is, where they are located, their identity, their socialization also shape the way they approach issues, approach the field, and the way they negotiate with communities in order to take community work and community action forward. So the community practitioner therefore community practitioners therefore may be really diverse, and their approaches to issues, their understanding of issues may also be quite different. Even within a particular context or situation, a number of practitioners may have different aspects of that they would emphasize or consider as significant when working with communities. So it becomes important to have some theoretical perspectives and an understanding of some theoretical perspectives, so that the nature of practice can be analyzed and examined, and also so that there can be perhaps some common ground that can bind the practice of diverse practitioners within a given context. Since theories form the backbone of practice, theoretical perspectives become indispensable to formulate effective community practice methods in the field. Without theoretical perspectives, as mentioned earlier, the praxis will lack a strong foundation and will lead to inadequate methods and interventions. So application of theories not only helps the practitioner to develop an understanding of desired outcomes through community practice, but also can empower the community with better understanding of their situation and needs. So in this module, we have talked about theorizing community practice in a fairly broad sense. We have discussed what theories are. We have discussed why they are important for community practitioners. Certain broad sets of theories have also been discussed and highlighted, and we have and we have an understanding of the role of community practitioners and their responsibility to theorize, which is an ongoing one. Okay, the readings for this module are provided in the e-text, and they should give you the details of what we have discussed in the video.